Money spicy.
Hello, viewers at home. You're welcome to Ayobami Adegboyega Gospel Film TV channel, where the Lord has been blessing you with so many inspiring messages. We have a special edition for you this time on marriage spices, and it's a Valentine session where we'll be discussing what Valentine is all about. What is the Christian perspective of Valentine? And with me in the house, two special guests, a lady and a man. We are bringing the two sides to it. There are two views, and you listen, and we trust God that as you listen to us, the Lord is going to bless you greatly.
Amen.
My name is Fumi Adeku. I'll be anchoring the program. And to my right, we call her Amazon. I would like her to introduce herself to the house.
All right. Good day, viewers. My name is Mary Mohammed. You can call me Amazon, as she rightly said.
What do you do? Are you married, single?
Okay, I am not married, but I am engaged. So I'm single and not searching, obviously. And I make peanuts at Maynard MG. I am a gospel actor, yes. And then the Lord has been using.
I wanted to ask whether you are born again. Okay.
That's like the sweetest experience of my life. Yes.
All right.
I'm born again. Thank you very much, ma.
Okay. Our left, we have AY, and I would like him to introduce himself too.
Okay, good day viewers at home. My name is Aino Ayomide Emmanuel. I'm a child of God.
All right, thank you for that.
Okay, I'm not searching and I'm not single. I'm engaged to the glory of God. And okay, things I do. I'm a drama minister, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a graphics designer, etc.
Okay. Thank you very much. We go in straight to the discussion session. Don't forget the topic we discussing this time is Christian perspective to Valentine. And what can you say about Valentine? What is Valentine?
Okay, Valentine. Let's go back to the days of old. In the days of Emperor Constantine, there were myths that came around then about Valentine, about the origin of Valentine, why people celebrated Valentine and all. So, but then one myth that I would like to mention is the fact that Saint Valentine was a priest in the days of old, during the time of...
Was a priest.
A priest,
okay.
according to their myth.
Okay.
Saint Valentine was a priest.
Okay.
Under Emperor Claudius II. And that particular period in time, they did not allow soldiers to get married.
Okay.
So they decided St. Valentine decided to marry people secretly. Then the emperor got to know about it and then got him arrested. And then after a while, he got beheaded on the 14th of February. There's a myth. That's one myth. Another myth is that he was in prison for a while, and then because of Christians, he got imprisoned because of Christians, because he was helping Christians, according to the myth. And then he fell in love with the jailer's daughter. One thing led to another. They got to know, and then they beheaded both of them on the 14th of February.
Okay.
So that was the start off of Valentine. One of the letters that he wrote to the girl then, I think towards the end of the letter, when we are writing this, yours sincerely, yours faithfully, and also he wrote to my Valentine. So from there, we started picking up Valentine here and there. So I think that's a little history on my own.
Okay. So what, Amazon? I prefer to call you that.
Okay,
now. What do you have to say to this? You have any contrary opinion or addition to it?
Not really. Not like I have a contradicting opinion.
Okay.
But because both myths are basically the ones I know about Valentine. But then I remember that it actually started off from the church. I think the Western Christians then they decided
from the church.
they decided to celebrate their priest that was beheaded on February 14th. So it became a feast of Saint Valentine. So it was basically the Christian thing of celebrating their, I think they even call it a martyr because it was murdered as a saint. So I think, you know, the way we have the martyrs, the disciples of Jesus that were murdered in bad ways. So that was the category they placed Saint Valentine then in the old Christian church. So bringing it to the stories they gave us, both stories, I think they are kind of interwoven. It's still the fact that he was a man of God that was conducting marriage ceremonies, and he had a sacrificial love for the jailer's daughter, such that even when he was in prison, he was sending secret love letters to a woman. He has mind actually. So that's basically
So,
Okay.
you wanted to say something?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. I just remembered another myth that
Okay.
I think I stumbled on. Saint Valentine himself is believed to have come from a very rich background. Very rich background. And then at a particular point in time, he shares love with people around him. So, but then in a way, yes, like I would agree with what she said. We can channel it to the fact that we have this interwoven story, even though we don't know which exactly to lay hold of. Because Valentine was a good man, and then he shared love amongst people, whether it was with a particular girl, amongst people, or trying to fight for Christians or fight for soldiers and all, and then he got beheaded. But then there's a fact that he got beheaded.
exactly.
And then so he was beheaded on the 14th of February,
Yes.
according to the myth.
We then say that it started from that time and began to expand and spread around and across the world. But we celebrate Valentine, February 14. What is it all about now?
All right. About what Valentine is about. I think I mentioned earlier that it was celebrated then as the feast of Saint Valentine, which was intended to communicate love and affection between believers and people around them, based on the fact that their former priest died because of sacrificial love he had for someone. However, not even looking too long in that century, 10 years ago and now, so many things that no matter how good the intention was when it started, it would have been perversed by now. So although the initial intention of this feast or Valentine's Day is to show love, affection, and care to people around, especially your lover. Now,
Your lover.
Exactly.
Lover.
Because
In what regard?
now, it's not meant to be between boyfriends and girlfriends. The fact that I said lover means it is meant to be contain people that are legally binded. Because Saint Valentine was actually getting people married. It was not trying to say, okay, they can. It means that it was not in support of premarital sex because he wanted to legalize everything. So, but now
When he was
doing
jailed.
it, because people, I think soldiers then, they were not celibates, and then for them to exercise all their sexual, all of that, they needed to get married. So that's why he was establishing marriages. But now, boyfriends and girlfriends, young, how do I put them now? They're not even engaged, they're just dating. Some people say they're not dating, they just tell you, you be my man. So that one day, some people, they do one night stand. Like what they do, instead of sharing love
One
and
night
affection, one night
stand.
stand. That time is for sex. Like now. Meanwhile, it's meant for love and affection. And sex is no way the definition of love or affection. So that's why I'm saying that although the intention was to show love, to spread love, now it is more erotic than it was intended to be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. AY, do you really have any contrary opinion to what she just explained?
Okay.
She said it's about love, it's about showing, expressing love and all.
Well, as intended in the days of old,
Okay.
when they celebrate Valentine, the two things were popular. That's the sharing of flowers,
Okay.
sharing of flowers, and then the sharing of chocolates. there was a particular myth that I saw that that had to do with Cadbury, the owner of Cadbury, not Bonvita kind of, but then the trends of the creation of chocolates.
Chocolates.
So it started from Cadbury.
Okay.
And also they shared chocolates with people, shared flowers. So they used it at that point in time. And then for the one of chocolates, they would package chocolates in in boxes that look like heart shape.
Okay.
And then give it to people in such a way that when you give it to them, they can eat the chocolate and still have the boxes to themselves to remember whosoever gave it to them. So nowadays, the reverse is the case. Because okay, let me do a little throwback to while I was still in secondary school.
Okay.
I remember then, if you are meeting a person to say, "Will you be my Val? Will you be my Val?" That is usually the question. Will you be my Val? From January, you see people already throwing letters in class. They'll be rolling paper. You'll be finding paper everywhere in corners in class, and also you find out that the deep-seated question in the hearts of people is not, will you be my Val? Because if truly people are asking, will you be my Val for me to give you gifts, it will have been a different case. But then the question is, will you be my Val? Indirectly in their mind, you are trying to say, will you be my girlfriend? Will you date me? Will you be in a relationship with me?
I don't think that's the intention. Because some people actually ask you to be their vow. They ask you to be their vow without intending to be in a relationship with you.
I wanted to say that while I was in secondary school too, I went to girls only secondary school.
Okay.
And we also do that. You know, when it's getting to the time, you start picking vows. And the basic use of that, or the main thing that we do, is just to exchange cards. In fact, cards, that's all, nothing more. We exchange cards.
In our own time.
You know, and now that's all.
In our own time. I'm not so old, but then, in these recent days of secondary school,
all right.
even, yes, I would say that there are different reasons why people exchange, but then with the perverseness in the world and the fact that Valentine has been bastardized, you find out that that is actually the underlying question in their heart. Now, the fact that I'm saying relationship does not mean a serious relationship or a godly relationship. It's the general word people just use for relationship that teenagers and youths use for relationship today.
Okay.
Because the right question should be, will you be ready to go on this journey with me into marriage? Because if you're not getting into relationship, if you're getting in a relationship with a person, it should
from
be.
What you explained, Val is not really a means of getting engaged.
These days, no.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
So it's just a plaything
now
for the guys. You hardly find, I don't think there are more ladies who are looking for Val. If you see a lady who is looking for a Val, she probably just wants someone to give her gifts. Give her flowers, give her chocolates. Presently, what is trending on different WhatsApp statuses and all, Instagram and all, you'd see Adeori Okin, 1 million naira. Because you get
packages.
Different packages that people are preparing. And then you see ladies packaging those things and sending it to different guys. Will you be my Val? And then the deep question in the lady's heart is, will you spend money on me? So if a lady is actually asking, will you be my Val, he's indirectly saying, will you spend money on me? For me. And then if a guy is asking you to be his Val in this present day and age,
it's a whole package.
It's a whole package.
Okay.
But first, relationship is not there. Relationship is not there. Dating is not there.
Okay.
Since it's a one-day affair, they start up early in the morning, messages with gifts and everything. The guy definitely has money to spend, and then he's having an expectation of what will happen that night.
End.
In quotes, they call it happy ending.
I saw something today. People have started receiving pre-Valentine gifts, and somebody was displaying a pre-Valentine gift, and it was lingerie, like underwear. So she's not married, they are not engaged. A random boyfriend, sent that as a pre-Valentine gift. So that's past the message that, okay, I have an expectation of 14th of February, and it has to do with sexual pleasure, whatever. So that is like the underlying intention for Valentine now.
I discovered that all of these things are expressed in the name of love. They're expressed in the name of love. When you tell a lady, will you be my val? Or a lady goes to a guy, will you be my val? Or whatever, whichever way, is like a way of expressing that I have interest in you. Probably I'm
Mommy, that's a
interested
Christian,
in
that's a
you.
Christian
exactly.
perspective.
I was about to
Okay,
say that.
okay, okay. So, like I was saying that you know, it's expected if a guy says, will you be my val, or a lady says that. Um, thank God we are born again, we are believers. And how do we express this? How do we celebrate this? Bearing in mind that it's about love and all. What's your view
Mommy, I actually feel
for
that
a believer celebrating
I believe that
Valentine?
a child of God that is not in a relationship will not wake up one day and ask a church sister to be my val. Meanwhile, a married man or married people now, they would not need to ask somebody outside that I would love you to be my val. Meaning that it is meant to be celebrated within people that are in love. People that are in love. So if you want to ask somebody out on a normal day, don't make it Valentine, because Valentine has a lot of comes with a lot of expectations these days. Because people expect that once somebody asks you to be their val, you go on a date. And when the person is paying for a date, you know that you also pay with
You have to
sex.
pay something back.
Now, major reason why I'm saying sex now is because, as much as recently I tweeted something that, whether we like it or not, premarital sex and extramarital sex, they are still not godly. They are still against God's injunction. But our generation has made it look like if you've not had sex, so what are you doing in your relationship? So now when people say it was my val, like it was my val last year, it means we had sex last year. That's the way it is now. So for someone in the household of God, it is very rare for prayer cord to ask Sister Koda, can you be my val? No, because we understand that things are now perverse. Before you even go to sister now, you have to go through their pastor or something. So it is a very, very different ball game. However, it is meant to be a time of showing deep affection, love, attention, and care for your spouse or to your spouse. That is what it is meant to be now. But then I feel one day in a year, is that the only time you can use to celebrate your spouse?
Maybe we should just look at it like this. The love, expressing love and all that we're talking about. What is this love? What is this love? What is love?
Okay, if you are putting the question this way, what is love? Is it
Generally, your view, what love is?
Okay, if I'm meant to answer it directly, what is love? Love is God.
Okay.
Straight and direct.
Okay.
But then, if we are meant to have a good understanding of an overview of what love is,
Okay.
You find some people would say there are 3 kinds of love. Some people would say there are 7, there are 8 kinds of love.
Okay.
But then, agape, philia, eros, mania, is it logos or something, or lotus?
Okay.
I know different types of love, about 8 thereabout. But now we focus mainly on those 3, and then we say agape is the God kind of love. If agape is what we are meant to share during Valentine, because I'm trying to attach Valentine to any of these types of love, the kind of love that we express these days. If we say that what we celebrate is the God kind of love during Valentine, then I feel we have missed it. If it is the kind of love that we are celebrating presently. Because if it's the God's kind of love, the God's kind of love does not need a particular time for it to be celebrated.
For you to express it.
For you to express it.
Okay.
So if a husband and a wife, if the only time they get to celebrate Valentine or celebrate love is Valentine's Day, then what exactly are they doing together? Are they brothers and sisters? Even brothers and sisters share love amidst themselves round the year. So why would husband and wife think February 14? But if I'm going to create an excuse for them, it would be probably the hustle and bustle of life. the children and all. So they decided to, okay, this day, since everybody's celebrating it, let us dedicate it to, even if we don't have time, let's just use this day to celebrate love. Now, speaking about Eros, I would say Eros is what most people have decided to call Valentine.
Now.
Eros. And then they engage in, that is the sexual romantic kind of love, of which I don't want to call it love.
Okay.
Expression of love.
It's either you are good or you are bad. It's either you are light or you are dark. Light and darkness cannot have the same, you can't be in the same place. So if it's either you have Eros in you or you have agape. The only set of people that I know that are permitted to have Eros, agape, philia, and all are still the married people.
Okay.
But if you are still single, you are searching, you are still in the waiting room, I believe Eros is not even something you should think about.
Okay.
If you cannot express philia or agape, then just let go of it. As a brother, you are single, you are still searching. Valentine is not for you. If you feel you want to celebrate Valentine, please celebrate it with yourself. Celebrate it with yourself. Take yourself out. Buy yourself things. Sit in an eatery. Eat. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy life. And go home and shake yourself. Brother,
Oh my goodness.
I have celebrated Valentine. But then, because the thought of you wanting to celebrate Valentine with another person, there's just a way the devil plays on our mindset. The devil plays on our mindset. Even if you're not thinking of anything towards that sister, this sister, let me celebrate Valentine with her. The moment you would spend together, the kind of questions you shouldn't ask will be asked, the kind of emotions that shouldn't rise should be.
The atmosphere that is not supposed to be
created
will be created.
So,
and definitely the atmosphere will be developed.
That's
over time.
Over time, yeah.
But then, I don't know, maybe Christian brothers could use it as a strategy. Maybe there's a sister they've been saying, Holy Spirit, is she the one? They can decide to use it propose that day.
Oh, okay. I think for me, the question about what love is, as I said, love is good. But then I'd like us to look at love as being a sacrifice. Love is sacrificial. Love is
like we have in 1 Corinthians 13.
Exactly.
Now, the major reason why I was saying love is sacrifice is that the Bible tells us that in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So the greatest form of love is the kind of love that makes you want to give everything and anything for the sake of your spouse or your partner. I think this exists majorly among lovers, among married men, because you know they can go to any extent for the comfort of their spouses. It's the Christ kind of love. It is the God kind of love. And then, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, His only begotten Son. So now, this Valentine love that people celebrate is not the only thing they have that they are giving. It's just this. At least this one will be able to get me. It is transactional love. Meanwhile, it is transactional.
Love.
I do this, I get this. But meanwhile, it's meant to be sacrificial. So exactly why I now said that. How will I be married to someone and then the only time I get to be sacrificial, the only time I get to give them my best is 14th of February? No, wrong. Very wrong. So as believers, basically, as Christians, this God kind of love should be a part of our lives, such that we ooze it. Like there's this aura of love around us. People know that when they come to us, they won't be judged, they won't be condemned, they will be loved for whoever or whatever they are. So if by Valentine you decide to give gifts, that okay, show them love, it will not pass a wrong message, in quotes. But if you now decide it's that time, that's when Sister Mary now is thinking, I mean, this brother is having so I do not feel that Valentine is meant to be the only time you celebrate or show love and affection to your spouse.
You said something the other time that for God so
loved the world.
Another scripture that says, for God so loved the world that He gave
His only begotten
Son, that whoever believes in Him will not perish and have everlasting life. Another one I want to read, Matthew 5:44. It says, but I say to you, Love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you. And pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. And on like that. I want to say that when you are talking about love and the kind of love that is expected from a believer, you mentioned a type of love the other time, a give and take. Transactional. Thank you for that word. It's not a transactional love. No. And this kind of love, how do you love your enemy? I imagined how somebody will hate me. It's obvious this one hates me, and I still love such a person. Somebody that, you know this one, I'm not interested, there is nothing I can benefit from this one, and you still love that person. And I came to a conclusion that the God kind of love, the love that is expected to be exhibited by believers, is not what you can do ordinarily with your heart or with your mind. Okay. You need the Spirit of God to help you to love people, even your spouse. Even your spouse, because there are times your spouse will do things that will be like, why did I even marry this one? You understand? Why did I even marry this one? But the love of Christ in you will make you to say that even though he's behaving like this, even though she's behaving like this, I'll still love her. You understand? Yes. So it's not ordinary. That's the point I'm making. Exactly. It's not ordinary love. And that is what is expected to be expressed by believers. So when you're saying you celebrate Valentine, you celebrate, you exchange love, you exchange gifts, it's not like AY said, it's not for this season alone. No. It's what is expected of us to be exhibited every time we relate with people. Now, but these days, we also see that churches organize programs. Okay. They organize programs celebrating Valentine. They will even wear uniform, and all, and, big time. Everywhere you see people gathering together celebrating. What's your view about this?
Okay. For me, about churches organizing events and programs for this season, I think it is strategic. Strategic in the sense that if the devil decides to set up or orchestrate a scheme and call it Valentine, because there are parties, there are clubs, there are so many things that will easily engage teenagers and youth this period, and then it will kind of corrupt them. However, the church is now coming to salvage this situation by setting up religious and the godly kind of church love interactions. For example, I know of a church that is going to do this February. They're going to have renewal of vows between married people this February. Okay. Starting from 13th till like so many events, and then I know of teenagers ministries that will gather teenagers a day before and educate them about these things, just so that they are on the right path.
They will make them to pick vows.
No, we gather to share and understand the love of God, share the word, break the bread, celebrate, like enjoy the season. So that when we see people out there, when you get out now, you see a lot of white and red, looking like what I don't want to mention. But then you're like, okay, is that all there is to it? But when you gather and some believers, you must. I think there was one of these Valentine programs we attended together one time. Like we had not seen for a year or few months, and then we're all gathering. It was a teenagers program, and then we gathered again. We saw they acted, they sang, special presentations. It was nice. It was really lovely. It was engaging as a Christian teenager. Sometimes you invite people that are not even Christians to such organizations, and they're like, "Oh, this is nice," and they just want to come invite me next year. So the church is actually helping. Still helping us keep maintain a sane climb, because yes, man, the way the world is right now, you hear of teenagers 14, 15 all of that, telling you they've had sex, like they count people they've had sex with. And then this Valentine, some of them would have even decided, I'm going to eat this number, I'm going to
hit this number
of, like, okay, for example, they have body count, the number of people you've slept with, you've had sex with.
Contact with.
Yes. So Valentine is another special edition of counting scores for them. So all these things, parents might not be aware, and the church is just a route of escape when they organize.
Let me just
programs.
add this to before you continue. That is an opportunity for us to get closer and discuss freely and frequently with our teenagers at home, and is a call to parents to take up their responsibilities the more and see that your child does not get wrong signal, wrong messages about this Valentine time, because that's the general misconception and belief of the teenagers. Go on, please.
And then I think another part of this is, if you go to most churches or religious gatherings, in this period, they talk about sex. There are topics that they cannot preach, that pastors would not want to talk about on a normal Sunday service. So this February, they try to talk about sex, education, talk about masturbation, talk about all these things that people are addicted to, and the things that teenagers are liable to get involved in if they get the wrong understanding of it. Because most teenagers now, they tend to learn about sex from their friends. They tend to learn about kissing, romance from their friends. And what do they know too? Maybe the wrong information. But when churches and believers come together to share this kind of information, we tend to have the godly perspective about it.
For the churches who have decided to embrace this month to discuss love, the only painful part for me is we have different types of churches. We have the youth-centered churches, and then the adult-centered churches and all.
I'm not saying it's all the churches that organizes.
Yes, definitely.
But we have some churches that is part of their
calendar
program for the year.
February. Yes. Even in some churches, the whole of February is a discussion on love. So now, but my point is, we don't pay much attention to this coming generation because they don't have a good understanding of the God kind of love.
What do you think that the church can do to throw more light, give more understanding, and properly inform our youths? Because I think youth are more vulnerable, even though we have grown up that also get themselves involved in funny things at this time. What do you think the church can do to help the youth in this area?
A teaching church is the hope of Christianity. It's the hope of any believer, any growing believer. So a church who is not devoted to growing their youths and teaching them sound doctrine at this point in time would lose them to the wave of the world. Now, if they have, we've found out that youths are now getting themselves involved in this perverse nature. I believe Valentine alone should not be, or that February 14, or the events around February 14 should not be the only time when they discuss these issues. There should be prompt and regular activities that would make youth stay in church. I didn't grow from an Orthodox church. But then my partner attends an Orthodox church. And then youths and children, you see them almost in church every now and then. And all. So now in those activities, they get to train them constantly on how to live. And they have sessions in which they make them understand the God kind of love, help them understand relationship with the opposite sex. Because whether I would like it or not, Valentine is not the problem. Val is not the problem. It's a wrong mentality that has been kept in the minds of youths. And there are platforms that God has created to train up a child. We have the family, that is the very first one. We have your school, and then we have the church. When a woman gives birth to a child, highest 3-4 years, that is when the mother would have close ties with the child, because the child will start going to school and they will spend more time in school with their teacher. And then you start hearing the teacher saying, you start hearing the child telling the parent at home, no, mommy, my auntie said this is the correct answer. And then, so you find out that at that point in time, there is a mental shift already. Now, throughout school, the child gets so much influence by friends and teachers. I can say boldly that there was a particular film that was trending at a particular point in time that had some pornographic content. It was a lesson teacher, my lesson teacher, that introduced me to it. And his plan, his intention was to just make me watch a film, but then it was having a negative effect on me. Now, through school, the last place where a child can get his own freedom or freedom and healing per se, to say now, is in the church. But then the church is only concerned about doctrinal issues, only concerned about population gathering. But the little ones that they have in them have not grown to a stature where ordinary February 14 will not get into their head. You've not grown to a level where they can say that, okay, February 14, I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything. I just want to stay at home. I want to pray. Is it possible for you to hear any Christian and say on February 14, I want to stay at home and pray and fellowship with the Father and have a koinonia with the Father? Because indeed, if you are saying that this is the God kind of love, then it means that we're actually meant to stay home with God and fellowship with Him. If He is the first lover and He's our main lover, then let's stay at home and fellowship with Him. That is the true Valentine for me. But then if we know that the only thing that is on our head is to have an opportunity to be with an opposite sex, I'm talking as a single now, opposite sex, go out and drink and smoke and do all those things, then you know that there is an issue. There is an issue. If the school cannot teach us, then the church, we need to focus on letting these people, on letting youths understand that Valentine is just a day that will pass.
Thank you so much. We've had a good time, a very interesting time of discussing and interacting about this Valentine. And we have the understanding that love is not only celebrated on February 14th.
Exactly.
As God has designed it.
Yes.
And it's God that created love. And anyone that is not in God cannot express this love. Cannot express the love. And we need to know this. And if we have this at the back of our mind, it will shape the way we reason at this time, the way we interact, and the people we go out with. And this is a good lesson for our youth especially. And that we want them to see this and act in this light and see how God helps them, shaping their life, shaping their future, and see them coming out well as God has designed it. I want you in 1 or 2 sentences to give us your last word in this discussion as you encourage our youth, our teenagers and the youths generally. They are on what they're supposed to do about sex, exchanging sex with love. The two of you know.
Ladies first.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ma, for this opportunity. I'd like to round off by saying that the fact that love has been commercialized, like, it's just something people have rather they've misconceived and turned it to something else, does not mean that as a child of God you should also go that direction. The fact that the world is doing it a certain way does not make it the God way or the right way. So as youth in this generation, as believers, we should always stand on what the Lord wants, purity and godliness. And then I believe that if we are able to uphold this, it will help curb a lot of things in this our generation. I pray God will help us. The God way is the only way we should live by.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, for me, closing words, I would say that youth should get to know God more. The more you move with God, there is a tendency that you start becoming to look like Him, become to think like him, to talk like him, and act like him. So it is not, we've not heard or read in the Bible that all these perverse natures are found in God. So if they are not found in God, the more we move close to him, the more he helps break off those things. It's possible from us. It's possible some people don't, they are probably influenced by some things, by their friends and all, to do whatever mishap during this Valentine period. Ensure that you stay more with God. If you would have to run away from your hostel, run away from wherever you are, to just find a sane environment for yourself. Ensure that you don't soil yourself and destroy your destiny because of one day. Thank you.
Don't destroy your destiny because of one day. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And for the married too, it's a time to renew your love. A time to tell your wife, I love you more and more and more. A time to tell your husband and express it to him that you love him. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
This is where we'll be drawing the curtain of today's discussion. Christian perspective to Valentine.